Sidestepping the fact they're a force of pure evil, white supremacists are also just hilarious. Like, what was that, Brayden? We're the master race? I couldn't go outside this weekend without burning to a crisp with sunscreen.
I just want to leave you guys with this little reminder. It does not matter how hard you fight to defend white supremacy or the patriarchy. Sooner or later, everyone standing near the fire gets burned, even those who lift the flames.
I used to work out with a trainer every week, and I really loved it. And one of the things that, trainers say is that pain is weakness leaving your body. And, I started doing work in anti-racism and anti-white supremacy, and I started to realize that feeling of shame that I have and that other white people I've worked with have told me about having when they realize, oh God, I am responsible for racism, maintaining racism. Not starting it, of course, but we do live in a racist society, and so if I'm a white person and I'm not anti-racist, then I'm not really helping. Anyway, so one of the things that I notice is that shame when I'm starting to go, oh, but I thought I was doing enough, or oh, but I thought I understood. And I want to say this to you. That shame is white supremacy leaving your body. Don't worry about it. Let it go. And keep your mind open and curious, because that is the way you're going to be a great ally. That is the way you're going to fight white supremacy and racism, and that's the way you're going to end it. Stay curious. You can do this.
White supremacy is so embarrassing. It's humiliating. White supremacy is humiliating. Can we stop? Can we just stop, please? I want it to stop right now, immediately. Just stop it. Just stop. It's so cringe and it's disgusting, and it's just stagnant, old, disgusting, cringe, horrible, embarrassing, humiliating energy. And I just need it to stop now. Everyone needs it to stop now. We're done. Stop, everybody. Stop it. It's fucking awful. You think you're better because you're pale? That's absolutely insane. White supremacy is a delusional mess, and the world is fucking exhausted by it. We're done. Goodbye. Good night.
For this particular video, I want all the white people to come to the front of the classroom. Yes, come in front, because what you're about to talk about in this video is mostly about white people and educating them on how the government and the systems that have been put in place to make sure that they benefit from it more than any other people is actually being used to condition them to make sure that a certain system works for the rich, not for just any other white person, not for the average white person, but specifically for the rich white person. And something that you don't realize as a white person is that you have been conditioned to learn that racism is a good thing, and to learn that black people are terrible people, and to also learn that just because you have a certain skin color, you are worth more than 100 black people or 100 people from a minority group. And that is something that you don't understand is being used against you to help other people. Because now, if you see what Trump is doing, he is making sure that he's feeding all the white people a certain narrative to make sure that they still back him up, even if the things that he does are actually damaging them. They're actually hurting him. Hurting them. Like, you see the white farmers, all the immigrant people who used to work in Arkansas and all these other farms, maybe in Florida and other places and other states in America, all these people that were, taken back to their countries, the immigrants were taken back to their countries, the people who suffered the most loss were the white farmers. And instead of actually standing against what Trump is doing and saying, you know what, let's stop doing it. Actually, what we said about you removing all these immigrants is wrong. Bring them back because they're actually helping our community. Instead of saying that, they started saying that God will help us in whatever that we do. We pray that God will provide. We know that Trump is doing his best as much as he's hurting us with the taxes. You see, that kind of a mindset is what is hurting you people the most. And no one is born a racist. You weren't born a racist. You had to be taught racism. And racism is a form of oppression, not only to the minority groups, but to you too. But before I give my full commentary, let's dive in and listen to what other people have to say, and then we'll come back and talk about it. But before we do, kindly comment what you think about this particular topic. And let's dive in, and then we'll come back and talk about it. See you shortly.
Do you know what's so funny? I used to be so upset when white people were racist. As I realised they don't like each other either. And the reason why I posted this is, I don't know if you've seen that viral video of this white woman saying the N-word and doubling down in the comments. And everyone recognised that she was grafting. Is that even how you say it? Grafting? Trying to be the new token white woman, racist, conservative. Anyway, that backfired because they don't like her either. Do you know why? Because they found out she's Jewish and that she had a nose job. So now, after all the support, they're hating on her because she's not white, she's not white enough. Even white women struggle with this. You can be white and still not white enough. I made a thread a while ago trying to understand why there's so much discourse about hair colour in the white community. People love to throw around that black people care so much about hair. We always make a big issue about hair. But I've grown up around white people. Hair is a massive thing in their community as well. And they even have their own form of colorism through hair. If you're blonde, you're basically the equivalent of a light skin. If you're a brunette, you may as well be a nigger. And if you're a ginger, oh, don't even show your face. I remember in school, the people that got bullied the most were people that were ginger. So this is to say, white people don't even like themselves. They don't like each other. They're constantly re-shifting, redefining what it means to be white, because at the end of the day, it's only a few select that they want to experience the privileges of white supremacy-ness. So if a white person's ever racist to you, don't be offended, because there's going to be a group of their own that don't like them either.
When you're like conditioned to believe in a system where one type of person is supposed to be better than all the others, obviously to enforce that system, they're gonna like project everybody that is not that standard, everybody that's not white. They're gonna project self-hatred onto them because it exists within the person that is projecting it. What I'm basically trying to say is that white supremacy can't really exist without a little bit of self-hatred from the white supremacist. Because why would you feel the need to create a system that enforces that you are superior if you didn't somewhere deep down inside you fear that you weren't superior or that you weren't good enough? All that system really does at the end of the day is create an environment where certain people feel like they need to perform a certain level of perfection to be considered like human, right? But what that does at the end of the day is it removes any value from you if you aren't showing up as perfect. And I thought about this a lot in Sinners, where like that idea of like white supremacy, especially like shown through religion, is like the vampires don't have a soul, and they need the people that are creative, that like the black people that are making music, so that they can find their soul again. Why is that? Because white supremacy stripped them of their soul. And so the result of unlearning a system like that is being able to accept yourself when other people don't like you, or when the standards in place say that you don't deserve respect or things like that. But when you are following that system, you're bound to those rules. You're bound to like other people's opinions of you and like monetary value and things like that. All these things that like at the end of the day are probably going to disappear and will eventually change. You're bound to that as a way to define your worth in this system. And that is unhealthy. That's really unhealthy. But y'all stay safe.
Remember how during the civil rights movement, rather than desegregate their pools, many communities, white communities, filled their pools with concrete? That's literally what's happening to the United States right now. White men could not handle having anyone else but white men as equals. So they're filling the United States with concrete. They'd rather destroy this country than let anyone else have equality.
Nazis don't deserve rights. White supremacists do not deserve rights. If you are either of those things, you are no longer a real person to me. And the repercussions that befall you because of your choices in bigotry, they mean nothing to me. Whatever happens to you means nothing to me. Case in point. This is Michael Lassiter, a well-known Missouri Proud Boy, because apparently you can be a well-known white supremacist and it just gives you a celebrity status in America now. And this is Emily, who is either his cousin or his wife. I have not found out yet. Kanye West released a song called Hitler. They made a video to it and it went viral. And I posted a video about their video and it's gotten taken down, appeal declined, but whatever. And they have since been doxxed on the internet. And typically, I'm against doxing, unless you're one of those two things that I stated at the beginning of the video. And now they have a Give, Send, Go account where they've raised over $5,000 because they are trying to relocate, because people on the internet were mad and mean to them because they gave a Nazi salute in a video repeatedly. But this is okay to me. That's okay to me. Because again, you are no longer a real person to me once you make these decisions.
My professor shared a quote with us from Lyndon B. Johnson, who was president of the United States in the 60s, like during the civil rights movement. If you can convince the lowest white man that he is higher than the greatest colored man, then he won't realize that you're picking his pocket. And then it goes on. Hell, if you give him someone to look down upon, he'll empty out his pocket for you. This was the 60s, y'all. Like, this was a fat minute ago. I just want to take this moment to reinforce that white supremacy is the root of so much evil in our world and is also very covert today. And Donald Trump blaming all the issues in America today on like illegal immigration and on DEI initiatives, the way he just did with the plane crash that happened this morning or last night, is white supremacy at play. Is white supremacy actively at play, but in a very covert way, and he's getting away with it in a very covert way. What is this? What is this lint flying around? And it is stressing me out because what he's literally doing is telling white people that voted for him specifically that their desire to like contribute to something great, that desire that all people have, he's telling white people specifically that their desire for that is rooted in their skin color and their skin tone, not in their contribution to the lives of the people around them, not to like the work that they do, not to like the family that they raise, not he's saying that white people and white supremacy, he's pushing white supremacy. He's telling white people that just because of their fucking skin tone, they are greater than anybody else with a different skin tone. And on top of that, those same white people don't even realize, because they're getting that ego, because their ego is being fed, because their ego is being weaponized against them, they don't even stop to realize that like they're being robbed, as all of us are. Like the government, hold on, are y'all with me? Are y'all with me? Are y'all following? Y'all, the task that we have ahead of us these next 4 years, we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it together. We're gonna get through it together. The way I'm kind of looking at it is that the white people who voted for Trump, who are just, I love y'all. Y'all are just dumb. Y'all don't realize that you're being taken advantage of and that like your own ego is being weaponized against you again. Y'all don't realize that. And once, I think eventually we will collectively realize as like the little people that the government is using us. The government is like taking advantage of our stupidity, of our inability to like, of our lack of power or control. We're being taken advantage of. And the real enemy is not each other. The way that we make change is by asking the government for what we need. And we need to come together. We need to come together right now in order to hold the government accountable.
One of the ladies said that white supremacy can't exist without self-hatred. If you in yourself believe that you are worthy and you are amazing and you are more superior to another people, you don't need to specifically put a system up to make sure that you remain and you have to completely be in control. It has to come naturally, right? Like, you do not have to say that, you know what, I have to put this particular system in place to make sure that no matter who comes to this country, my people, the people who look like me, who are white, continue to rule and continue to be more superior to every other country, to every other people. Because if you go to Japan, Japan hasn't put systems in place to make sure that any other person who comes in will see that they are the rulers, they are the people, they are what and what. You know, if a country is overruled by certain people, they do not really particularly have to make sure that other people are in misery so that they can rule, or they can be happy, or they can be prosperous. And that's why we have so many countries in this world where you can travel to without being scared. You see, it's different when you travel to America, because there is this insecurity that is sold to people, because all around the world people look at news and social media, and there's so much violence that goes on in America, and it's not even conditioned, and it's not even specific to black people. It is literally most of the time white people, and it is mostly white on white crimes. And as a white person, you have to sit down and ask yourself and reflect on it and be like, why are us white people hurting the same white people? Especially if you believe that you are more superior, why are you hurting each other if both of you are superior to, that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. But there is something that is happening. You have been conditioned and you have been made to carry the burdens of people that you didn't even know. Carry the burdens of things that you didn't even realize actually happened. And until you take your time and teach yourself and understand why you have this heaviness in your heart and why there's so much pain in your spirit, you can't really be free. Because you carrying what your mother, your grandparents, and your parents taught you, and also from your community, your white-only community, constantly telling you that no matter who you are in this country, if the most learned black person, even if you're a poor white person, the most learned black person is below you. So how are you supposed to operate with such a brain? How can you completely be a hardworking citizen, an actual good member of the society, if you are told that you have a black president, but he is still not superior to you? You are more superior to him, even though you're a homeless person and you're a poor white person. You don't even have ends meet. You are just told that as long as you're a white person, the most learned, even someone who has a PhD, it doesn't matter. As long as they are a colored person, they are below you. So how is that person supposed to even operate? How is that person supposed to even be something, create something of themselves? And you can't. And there's one of the ladies in the comments who talked to one of the ladies who made this video, who are featured in these videos. And one of the black ladies said that you cannot continuously blame white men for the things that are happening in America. You should also blame you yourself as a woman and as parents of those white boys. Those white boys grow up to be white men who continuously do certain things. You feed into their egos, and then they have these fragile egos where when they meet with someone and someone is a little bit rude to them, they pull out a gun and then they just kill someone. Just because they were either called stupid, or they were called racist, or they were told that their remarks were actually a bit racist, and they're not supposed to say certain things. You'll see that white people have this fragile ego. White men specifically have a very fragile ego, and they resort to violence even in the most silliest of things. And one of the ladies says, you cannot blame it on the white men only. As a white woman, you have to take your responsibility. You have to take responsibility for how these men actually grow up and how they become and how they actually operate in the society, because you're the ones who are raising them. Aren't you? You are. So you should also take a little bit of responsibility about how you're actually raising those boys. And being told that you're superior because of the color of your skin and not your economic contributions, not your education, not even your achievements, and believing it is you being used. You are actually being used. You being told that you are amazing, you are better than any other people in a certain community just because you're white, you're being used, because that is what Trump is doing and any other white supremacist. That is what they're doing. They're feeding into your head that you are worth a lot. Anyway, everyone is worth a lot. I'm not putting a grade into people's lives or anything, but yes, we are worth a lot. But being told that you are worth more than someone else just because you are white can mess up with your brain. And you dematerializing that and actually sitting down with yourselves and realizing that whatever you have been taught and whatever you have been conditioned to think all these years is actually not true. Because also Black people have had to really come out of the trenches and to come and believe in themselves and to have this power in them, even after everything that the white people have done. Because it is just as easy as Black people saying, you know what, we don't even want to live in peace with white people anymore. We are actually going to wake up tomorrow and just start a war. But they don't do that because there is a lot of work that they have to do to make sure that they have peace inside themselves, so that they can be able to stay in a country where the majority of the people who exist in that country are the people who took part in the enslavement and the pain and the torture that they have to carry, and their parents had to carry, and their grandparents had to carry in all these generations, and even their kids kind of have to carry. So you taking at least, you can borrow a leaf. You don't have to take the whole tree. You can borrow a leaf from Black people and understand that you do not have to always resort to violence, and you don't have to always resort to what you're being told. You can make your own path. Black people are told that they are slaves and they cannot resort to anything more than being slaves and working for the white person. And look at them now. They are one of the smartest people. They are leading all around the world. They have literally made a Black president. America has been ruled by a Black president. That is crazy. And to have that is to have power in yourself. And I would think that white people also have power in themselves. Just that the problem is they're using it for the wrong thing, you know? And would like to tell you, as a Black person, I'd like to tell you, it is never too late to learn. And it's never too late for you to even teach other people. You can teach your family members. Make those uncomfortable conversations, bring them up, so that people know when you enter a room, there are certain topics that are off limit. Because if something doesn't sit right with your spirit, why should you entertain it? You know, why should you entertain something that does not sit well with your spirit? It doesn't make sense, right? Yeah. And I would hope that this is a learning curve, and I would hope that you have learned something, especially if you're a white person. If you're a Black person, hi, thank you for watching. I love you. And I also love those white people who are actually ready to learn. Yes, let's create a community and an environment that everyone can live happily and prosper, you know, in a land where we were all meant to live together. Because white people are using you to make sure that they continue enjoying your resources, because the more you fight, the more time they have to steal all of your resources. You don't realize because you're too busy fighting with each other. So let's not let them win, okay? Okay, and I hope to see you in the next video. If you have learned something from this video, kindly consider liking, sharing and subscribing. Share to your friends and family as we continue to grow together, and comment what you think about this particular topic. Also, if you'd like to support me in another way, I do have a Buy Me Coffee link down in the description below. If you check, it's right there, and I will truly appreciate. Thank you to everyone else who has actually supported me in that way. I truly appreciate. I hope to see you in the next video. I love you guys. Bye.